his same songs, but looking at them again, and he was so open to change. It was incredible.
Barbra Streisand is one of the greatest voices of all time. But behind the spotlight, her love life has been just as fascinating as her music and her movies, full of passion, heartbreak, and unforgettable men who left their mark on her journey. So stay tuned, because this story is filled with drama, romance, and surprises you will not want to miss until the very end. From the very beginning, Barbra's relationships captured attention, and among all the men she dated, there were a few who stood out as unforgettable, the kind who shaped her story in ways that would never fade. One of them was Elliot Gould, her first husband, and the man she met long before she was a superstar. In 1961, Barbra auditioned for a Broadway musical called I Can Get It For You Wholesale. Nervous and still unknown, she scribbled her number down and gave it a round. But Elliot Gould, already cast in the show, was the one who actually called, changing both their lives forever. Not only did Barbra land the role, but she also landed Gould, who became her first husband. They married in 1963, had a son, and for a while they looked like the perfect young couple in a golden era of Hollywood. But behind the scenes, things weren't so perfect. As Barbra's career exploded with Grammy wins, Broadway stardom, and her Academy Award for Funny Girl, Gould found himself fading into her shadow. He admitted it was hard being called Mr. Streisand, and that their relationship cracked because Barbra's career became bigger than their marriage. By 1969, they separated, and 2 years later, the divorce was finalized. Still, their story never truly ended, because they continued to co-parent and share respect, with Gould openly saying he would always love her, and Barbra admitting that once you love someone, they are always part of who you are. Then came John Peters, the fiery hairdresser turned producer who changed Barbra's world in ways no one expected. Their meeting felt like fate, and soon their romance was as much about passion as it was about creativity. Together they built homes, projects, and even produced the 1976 remake of A Star Is Born, a film that became a cultural phenomenon. Their relationship was intense, passionate, and chaotic, filled with bickering, building separate houses on the same ranch, and clashing egos. But they also inspired each other in powerful ways. Peters often described Barbra as the most captivating person he had ever known. And even decades later, he admitted she was probably the love of his life. Though they couldn't last as a couple, they managed to stay friends, showing the rare kind of bond that outlives romance. Barbra's love life didn't stop there. She was swept up in a whirlwind romance with Don Johnson, the Miami Vice heartthrob. Their relationship was fun, lighthearted, and full of adventures like boxing matches, helicopters, and boat rides. For a while, Johnson made her feel carefree, but cracks appeared when he grew insecure about their duet, Till I Loved You, and when Barbra discovered he wasn't fully honest about his ties with his ex-wife Melanie Griffith, she walked away. Yet, even after their breakup, Don Johnson always greeted her with warmth, whispering, "I love you," whenever they crossed paths, proof that their spark never fully died. Another unforgettable chapter came with Pierre Trudeau, the charismatic Canadian Prime Minister. Their romance began in 1969 after the London premiere of Funny Girl, and soon Barbra was spotted with him in Parliament and at high-profile dinners, drawing headlines everywhere. Trudeau even floated the idea of marriage, and Barbra admitted she once imagined herself as Canada's First Lady. But the reality of her Hollywood career and his political life made it impossible. Still, their connection lasted for years, and Barbra continued to speak warmly of him long after their romance ended, proving some love stories never truly fade. Then came a shock to the world when Barbra stepped out with tennis superstar Andre Agassi, a man 28 years younger than her. Their romance made headlines everywhere, with Barbra cheering for him at matches while Agassi called her a very special friend. In truth, he later admitted she fascinated him completely, comparing being with her to wearing hot lava. The relationship didn't last, but it showed that Barbra lived by her own rules, never caring about the world's judgments. Finally, there was James Brolin, the man who would become her lasting love. They met on a blind date in 1996, and Barbra, always witty, teased him about his haircut when they first spoke. What started with humor blossomed into one of Hollywood's rare, enduring marriages. They tied the knot in 1998 in a star-studded wedding and have remained inseparable ever since, attending premieres, supporting each other's careers, and showing the world what true partnership looks like. Barbra has often said she had already accepted a life alone before meeting Brolin. But with him, she found a love that made her feel safe, cherished, and complete. From Elliot Gould, her first great love, to John Peters, the fiery partner who built dreams with her. From Don Johnson and Pierre Trudeau, to Andre Agassi, and finally to James Brolin. Barbra Streisand's love life has been a saga of passion, heartbreak, and resilience. It is proof that even the brightest stars long for love, and sometimes the real happily ever after comes later in life. Her journey through romance has been messy, dramatic, and unforgettable, just like Barbra herself. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Barbra Streisand's legendary love life, let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like this video, share it with fellow fans, and most importantly, subscribe to Hollywood Bulletin and press the bell icon so you never miss more untold stories from behind the spotlight.